Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. And it's actually been a very busy day in the gaming world. A lot of things are happening, a lot to talk about. Nintendo, Nvidia, and Xbox just reached an agreement the same day that Microsoft is having a hearing with the EU over the Activision Blizzard acquisition. That's certainly not a coincidence, but this is huge, especially for Nintendo fans. Now, there is some speculation over the wording of this announcement though, and what all Xbox is planning to bring over to Nintendo. So we're gonna get into that, as well as some new showcases, a new game that was just announced today, and also some new Xbox Game Pass games as well, because they have some big titles coming over the next 2 weeks. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of things happening, fun times, so let's just go ahead and get right into this, starting off with that brand new game that was just announced, being Mighty Doom. Yes, a new Doom entry is coming on March 21st, though not necessarily the Doom Slayer that you're used to. Rather, this is actually a run-and-gunner roguelike developed for mobile devices. Yes, currently it's confirmed for both iOS and Android devices. Now, I know that might be a turnoff for some fans pretty much immediately. I'd actually like to see this come over to PC and consoles eventually as well, but for the time being, this actually fits into Microsoft's foray of wanting more of a mobile presence. According to them, this is one of the primary reasons that they're looking to acquire Activision Blizzard, and in fact, it's been discovered that they're even looking into their own mobile storefront eventually. Now, this isn't a part of that strategic plan per se, but much like Nintendo and Sony, I do think it's a smart move to expand into the mobile market. This allows them to expose these popular IP to a whole new market and really extend their recognition worldwide. And I will say, when it comes to Mighty Doom, I actually think that it looks interesting. I really do like the art style. They took the popular Doom figurines and brought them to life with a completely new game here, and with it being a run and gunner, I think it fits the Doom franchise. If anything, it's a great way to bring Doom over to mobile devices. Again though, Mighty Doom will launch on March 21st, though you can also pre-register right now. Now, we also got a surprise update for Chrono the Radical Dreamers edition. Now, we haven't exactly talked about this game in a while. It released last year, and at the time, a lot of people were disappointed with the effort that Square Enix put forth with this long-requested remaster. There was a very real debate that this quote-unquote remaster wasn't even as good as the original PlayStation 1 title. And there for a while, it just kind of looked like Square Enix was pretty much okay with that. We haven't heard much since then, or at least until now. Almost an entire year later, out of nowhere, they posted this statement saying, "Hello everyone, this is the Chrono the Radical Dreamers Edition development team. Following the launch of the game last year, we're planning to release an update this month. The update includes a wide range of changes, such as frame rate improvements, changes to the growth system for Pip, and fixes for other bugs. Thank you so much," and yada yada yada. But there you go. It looks like they are indeed planning to fix some of those technical issues after all. Sure, probably should have happened sooner, but hey, it's better late than never. At the end of the day, Chrono to many people out there is one of the greatest JRPGs to ever exist. And now hopefully is a key word here, but hopefully its remaster will reach expectations. Now, we also have 2 new showcases to look forward to over the next 7 days. I mean, yeah, I said there's a lot happening right now, and this includes a showcase for both PlayStation and also one for Nintendo. The first of which is a new State of Play. This is actually happening this week on February 23rd at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, this appears to be a third-party focused State of Play, so don't go in expecting big first-party reveals like Spider-Man 2, but however, there could still be some interesting announcements made here. According to PlayStation Japan, they're looking to reveal 16 new games for the PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and also the PlayStation VR 2 headset across 45 minutes. So, I mean, this will be a pretty lengthy event with a lot of game announcements. Now, a part of that is a 15-minute presentation for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. It does sound like maybe they snagged the marketing rights for that game. And then they're also set to reveal 5 more PlayStation VR 2 titles, with PlayStation VR 2 launching later this week. Actually, that's tomorrow, so it does make sense for it to have a big presence here. But even if you don't necessarily care for VR, it still sounds like they could have some surprises. There have been some rumors of a Metal Gear Solid announcement here recently, whether that's a remake or just a collection of the older entries. That would make for a pretty cool announcement. And there's also that mysterious Silent Hill the short message that we just keep hearing about. It's presumed to be a demo of sorts, but hey, they could shadow drop it possibly here. I mean, Nintendo shadow drop Metroid Prime at the Nintendo Direct, and then we also got Hi-Fi Rush at the Xbox Direct, so why not? Maybe Sony will also shadow drop something here as well. My bet would be on Silent Hill, the short message, if that were to happen. I think that would be pretty cool. Either way, though, a new State of Play is coming this week on the 23rd, and that's always exciting news. Now, as for Nintendo, as expected, new Pokemon Presents is officially confirmed for February 27th. The 27th is the Pokemon Day after all, and they typically hold their own showcase at this time every year. This particular showcase, though, will be 20 minutes long, and while they're not divulging on what they're showing here, I think we can kind of make a few predictions as to what could possibly be here. One is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. As we talked about yesterday in the patch notes they just released, they did note that there's more to these patch notes than what they're letting on. So I think there's a chance, at least a chance, that they might talk about that here and then drop the update the same day. After all, they continuously say that update will be out late February, and well, this would qualify for late February. Now, hopefully that will include some performance patches if that's the case, but I guess we'll see about all of that. Also, Detective Pikachu 2. I think this might be the place we finally see this game. We know that this game exists, but we've yet to see it. Maybe 2023 will finally be the year, though. I think that would make for an exciting announcement, as I think Detective Pikachu is one of the more interesting spin-offs the franchise has seen thus far and would make a great addition to the Switch in 2023. It would fill out their library just a little bit more, and the Pokemon Company does like to release these spin-offs during off years for the mainline franchise. Another thing that we've known about for a while, though, is Pokemon Sleep. This was announced back in 2019, I want to say, and then after that, we just got nothing. So, hey, maybe we can get two long-awaited announcements in one single event. Whatever happens, though, we're not going to have to wait for too long. This is only 6 days away, being, again, February 27th. Now, speaking of Nintendo, we got some major news from Microsoft. As some of you all may know, Microsoft is in a hearing today with the EU over the Activision Blizzard acquisition. Top executives from Microsoft, Activision, Sony, Google, Nvidia, and also Valve are all there today talking about this buyout and whether or not regulators should approve it. So, I mean, in a way, this is the most important day of this buyout thus far, and well, Microsoft, they made sure to bring ammunition. They now have two big allies for this acquisition as they reached a written agreement with both Nintendo as well as Nvidia. Now, both contracts are slightly different, so we'll just kind of go over each one by one, starting off with Nintendo. This is the one that's really going to make waves online because the president of Microsoft, Brad Smith, dropped this today. We've now signed a binding 10-year contract to bring Xbox games to Nintendo gamers. This is just a part of our commitment to bring Xbox games and Activision titles like Call of Duty to more players on more platforms. You can then see the actual press release, which reads, Microsoft and Nintendo have now negotiated and signed a binding 10-year legal agreement to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo players the same day as Xbox with full feature and content parity. So they can experience Call of Duty just as Xbox and PlayStation gamers enjoy Call of Duty. We are committed to providing long-term equal access to Call of Duty to other gaming platforms, bringing more choice to more players and more competition to the gaming market. Now, the reason I read both of those statements to you is because there's actually some confusion online about this. The actual press release only mentioned Call of Duty, whereas Brad Smith, on the other hand, he mentioned Xbox games as more of a sweeping statement. I don't know if he was intentionally vague here to maybe make the deal look even more grand than what it actually is, but it was later on confirmed by Christopher Dring that this is just for Call of Duty, not for all Xbox games. Now, maybe Xbox brings other Activision Blizzard games to Nintendo as well. That all remains to be seen, but this specific contract is just for Call of Duty. So let's just kind of clear up that confusion. Now, one interesting part of this statement, though, is that they don't specifically mention the Nintendo Switch, but rather they're very specific by saying Call of Duty will come to Nintendo players. Last year, when this agreement was first announced, just ahead of the FTC announcement, yes, they are very strategic with this stuff, there was a lot of questions on how they could even achieve this with Switch hardware. But the way it's worded here could actually point to Nintendo's next console, which is presumed to release sometime next year in 2024. In the meantime, though, Microsoft could always resort to cloud gaming. We've seen this on the Switch before with games like Resident Evil and Control, but I mean, I think it's important to keep in mind that those are single-player games first, whereas Call of Duty, it has more of a big multiplayer focus. So I'm not really sure that would be a great experience if they go in that direction. As for Nvidia, though, they've also reached an agreement with them, though unlike Nintendo, this agreement is for all Xbox games that are available on PC. They will now be coming over to Nvidia's platform, and this will also include Call of Duty if the acquisition goes through. Now, this is actually a very, very smart move from Microsoft, because this essentially removes any concern the regulators have with cloud gaming. A lot of their arguments up to this point have kind of boiled down to the future of cloud gaming. While yes, it's in its infancy stage right now, regulators have brought up concern that Microsoft could make their games exclusive to their own cloud service, giving them too much of an advantage in this specific market. However, with this, Microsoft essentially alleviated those concerns by allowing Nvidia to bring all of Xbox's games that are on PC to their service, and also Call of Duty if the deal goes through. So Microsoft is doing pretty much everything that they can to show these regulators, hey, we're working with you here. We're bringing these games to more platforms and not less. In fact, in a hearing today, Microsoft said this to the EU. Do you want to kill a deal and cement Sony's position? Or do you want to open Call of Duty up to 150 million more people? That's the question they've brought forth today, and they've now signed agreements showing that they are being 100% truthful about this. There's no mind games here. They have written contracts showing they are committed to bringing these games to 150 million more people. Now, for regulators, this will be difficult to argue with. I think this was a brilliant move on Microsoft's part, and I know Sony, they're still not going to accept this contract. They want this deal to fail. We very much know this, but I think this was a brilliant move coming from Microsoft. I think this could put a lot of pressure on these regulators. As always, though, I mean, you know, this has just been one crazy wild ride with Activision Blizzard. So as always, I guess we'll just have to kind of wait and see what happens next. Now, before we go, though, we do also have some Xbox Game Pass games to talk about today. They did announce the second wave for February, and this includes some big new inclusions. If we take a look here, you can see over the next 2 weeks, Xbox Game Pass members will get Merge and Blade, Soul Hackers 2, Wolong Fallen Dynasty, and then also F1 22. Of course, also you keep in mind, you have Atomic Heart as well. Now, Atomic Heart is actually out today, so you can go play this one right now. This is a highly anticipated day one release, and according to critics, it does sound like the combat is highly entertaining, and it has an engrossing world to explore. Unfortunately, its story and dialogue weren't as heavily praised, but it sounds like its gameplay will win a lot of fans over. So definitely go check this game out if you like first-person RPG shooters like BioShock as an example, and actually if you've played it already, go ahead and let me hear your impressions below. I would love to hear y'all's thoughts about this game. The big surprise inclusion, though, is for Soul Hackers 2. This will be out on February 28th, and now we're starting to see a trend here. Xbox and Atlas, while they basically had no relationship before just a few months ago, now it definitely seems they have a good relationship, as not only did they launch Persona 3, 4, and 5 into Xbox Game Pass day one, but now also Soul Hackers 2 is coming as well. This game's not all that old either. It released about 6 months ago, and if you do like the Shin Megami Tensei or Persona series, this is a spin-off of that, so you might want to go and check this one out. It might not necessarily have the same highs as the Persona series, but I've heard good things about its story overall, and I really like the character design in this particular game. If anything, if you like dungeon crawling JRPGs, definitely check out Soul Hackers 2 when it releases in the Game Pass on February 28th. Beyond that, though, and this is the one that I'm really interested in, being Wolong Fallen Dynasty. This is yet another day one release coming March 3rd, but what makes this game particularly so interesting is that it's coming from Team Ninja. Team Ninja is an exceptional studio when it comes to action games, and they've proven that time and time again, whether that be with Ninja Gaiden, Nioh, and now hopefully with this as well. Wolong is apparently a Souls-like with its own spin, but that's kind of the thing here. Team Ninja has already done a really good job in the genre with Nioh. I mean, outside of FromSoft games, Team Ninja has debatably done the best with this specific genre. Unfortunately, though, Nioh is exclusive to PlayStation, but maybe Wolong can kind of make up for that coming over to Xbox Game Pass day one. By all means, though, expectations are high for Wolong Fallen Dynasty. There you go, though. This isn't necessarily the biggest lineup in terms of quantity, but in terms of quality, Xbox Game Pass certainly has some highly interesting games to look forward to over the next 2 weeks. Let's go take a look at the poll of the day, though, where I asked you all, do you think Nintendo will address Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's performance problems at Pokemon Presents next week? And yeah, you all do not have much faith in this, with 76% of you saying no, while only 17% of you said yes. Now, I think that just kind of speaks volumes for how much confidence that you all have in a company like Game Freak. I mean, it feels like they have been heavily criticized for quite a while, especially during the Nintendo Switch generation. People were expecting a bigger jump in terms of visuals with Pokemon this generation, but that hasn't really happened. I mean, it's still a big jump compared to what we saw on the 3DS, but anyways, they have had some major performance problems with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and to this day, it seems like a lot of fans are still very skeptical of what they're going to bring forth when it comes to these quote-unquote performance fixes. Now, for me, I'm actually a lot more optimistic about this. I don't know if we're going to get the full sweeping performance fixes this patch that's supposed to happen at the end of February, but I do think that they will eventually fix this game, and I'm hoping is the key word here. I am hoping that they will address this at Pokemon Presents. I just found it so odd that in their patch notes, they did note that it's not all of the patch notes, so maybe they will talk about this at Pokemon Presents and then just go ahead and drop the update the exact same day. Crossing my fingers for that, but yeah, I guess we'll see soon enough. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.